Hello, everybody. We're welcoming back Ross Benjamin, NFL analyst and sports handicapper. And Ross, we're going to talk today about the NFL total for the NFC Conference Championship game between Arizona and the Carolina Panthers. Now, obviously, two good defenses, two good defensive-minded coaches as well. I'm going to put this in your hands and get your thoughts on this. 47.5 is what I last saw it. So I don't know as far as weather factors, how that plays in. I know that's something that says that factors in if I'm correct right away. So if you will, give us a breakdown. Do you think that's a fair number? Do you think we'll see a lot of movement until kickoff?
I think it's a fair number, and I also think that this number will probably stay pretty consistent right up until kickoff. Maybe a little bit of a move, a half a point one way or the other. Let's start with the offenses. Both of these teams explosive offensively. Arizona averaging over 30 points a game, Carolina averaging over 31, and then you go into the home and away splits. Arizona is actually even better offensively on the road, close to 33 points per game, over 426 yards per contest. And then Carolina at home, 33 points per game, close to 400 yards per contest on their home field. And then you mentioned the defenses. Yes, they've been strong this year when you look at the big picture and their overall body of work. But I'm looking at recent games. Both of these defenses have been vulnerable of late, Mike. You're looking at Arizona has allowed 354 yards or more in 4 of their last 5 games. Carolina, on the other hand, 373 yards or more in their last 4. Both of these teams have had excellent turnover differential in their last 4 games, both at +5, and that's bailed them out a little bit on the defensive end of the field. In Carolina, I'm not always big on just specific trends as they apply to a specific team, but there's something to be made of this. Carolina 8-0 over the total since last season in their last 8 games when facing a team with a winning record. And those games average close to, I should say, 57 points per game. And then you go back to the beginning of Ron Rivera's tenure, a coaching trend here. Since he's taken over in Carolina in 2011, the Panthers have gone 19-7 over the total versus winning teams when facing a winning team, I should say. And if those totals were 46 or more, like they will be on Sunday, you're looking at the 10-1 over the total under Rivera. So I like this game to be a high-scoring affair. I think it's going to be an awfully entertaining contest. Carolina, their secondary has been a little bit shaky in recent games, a lot having to do with injury situations there. And this is also a Carolina team that's given up a lot of explosive plays from the defensive standpoint. Opponents have had a lot of 20-plus yard plays against Carolina this year. Probably they're one of the worst in the NFL in that area. So I'm going to go over 47.5 in this NFC Championship game, Mike.
Well, Ross, you did your homework. Those are some serious numbers and stats that play into all of this, and I commend you on that. There's one factor also. Ted Ginn, I don't know his status as of yet. You might have an update on that. And Greg Olsen, let's not forget last game. And he's the horse for them as far as tight end, and he basically is like a receiver. All right, he took that little stinger shot, left the game, came back in. Now he's a competitor enough to where he'll get up for this game and he'll have enough cortisone in him. I'm sure he'll play. But when I look at that injury factor, that possibility of slowing those two down, if that is in fact the case, it also can weigh off because of the injuries to Carolina in their secondary, because you nailed that one on the head. They've got 2 injuries in that secondary, and they're thin at that position already. So that could be vulnerable. And now that Carson Palmer's got that first playoff win, and I know it's only 3 total playoff games he's played, but just getting that little monkey off his back builds a little confidence. You touched on it. All right, on the road, they tend to cover overs and their offense kind of explodes. So I wouldn't be surprised if this becomes a shootout. Again, depends on what happens with that running game with Carolina, but 47.5, I think that's probably a good call. I enjoy that.
Mike, let me say this, and I'll make this clear for anything that I handicap in any of these videos we do, whether it be basketball, baseball, football. Injuries and weather always play in, okay? But the bottom line is, if we know about it, the bookmakers know about it. So,
Sure.
and they have the best sources of information out there. They don't make mistakes.
Yeah.
When you start hearing dissertations by so-called handicappers on weather and injuries, I
Mhm.
lose all interest.
Yeah.
Okay, because you're not opening up. You haven't created the wheel.
Yeah.
So,
And,
with
and,
all
and
due
you're
respect.
absolutely right with that. But on one other note with that, Ross, with that being said, it makes you wonder how they come up with these numbers, how they get so close, because it's a lot of it's speculative. When they put these lines out and there's not a lot of movement through the week, all right, there's some of these injuries that coaches hide, some don't. It just blows my mind how they figure that out, and again, at the end of the day, for me, it goes a lot on gut instinct, it goes on common sense, and it goes on not necessarily trends, but who's getting the edge as far as early in a game. That's where I factor mine in. But I do look at something like that, and it makes me scratch my head with these books and go, holy shit, how did they know that guy was not going to play at the last minute? Boom, he's a scratch. Or vice versa, all of a sudden he's healthy. Ben Roethlisberger chucking it 60 yards down the field. So again, just touching on that. So, all right, well, look, I've got to get out of here. Ross, 47.5, likes the over, and I can't dispute that whatsoever. I think that's going to be a big W and a ticket casher. So tune in again. And hey, Ross, do us a favor, though. Come back with us real soon and break another game down, and let's get that underdog value ticket cruising in the college basketball.
Always look forward to it, Mike.